This is what the congressional map of the southeastern United States currently looks like. And this is what it could look like if the court lets Republicans redraw their maps with these Voting Rights Act protections. In all, Republicans could pick up as many as 19 congressional seats if the judges rule in their favor. That's not 19 seats Republicans win by convincing voters to support them because their agenda is better. It's 19 districts where Republicans would basically have a built-in advantage. And this comes as Republicans are already rigging congressional maps or trying to rig them in 7 different states. And they're actively undermining any Democratic check on their power in the process. I mean, take, for example, Missouri, where Republicans are hard at work trying to redraw their maps. A grassroots group of voters who are opposed, of course, to this effort has been out there on the streets trying to collect signatures to put these new maps on the ballot. So at least voters would actually have a say. But today, Missouri's Republican Attorney General announced that she is now suing the organizers of that grassroots effort. Today, Missouri's Republican Secretary of State also announced that he will not count any signatures that have already been collected as part of that effort. The Republican official said that because he hadn't yet signed off on the effort, all of those signatures that have been collected are not only invalid, but anyone collecting them had committed, quote, a misdemeanor election offense. Just to pause on that for just a moment. The Secretary of State in Missouri is saying that grassroots efforts that help ensure voters get to decide if they want new maps are a crime. Now, if you were confident you were going to get support for your position, those are definitely not the tactics you would ever need to use. Just contrast that for a second with what's happening in California, where Democrats have launched their own redistricting campaign to counter Republicans. In California, Democrats have embraced letting voters decide whether or not to approve their plan. They've even recruited former President Obama to help them make their case to voters about why they should support the redistricting plan. But at the end of the day, it's up to voters. That is what it looks like when a party is actually committed to democracy in the democratic process. Republicans want to disenfranchise voters with these new maps so they have no qualms about disenfranchising voters on the road to passing them. And the Republicans' efforts to rig our elections go well beyond redrawing congressional maps. They're also using their power to make it harder to vote in any way that they can. Earlier this year, Trump vowed to end the use of mail-in ballots across the country, which so many people rely on. And just last week, the Supreme Court's conservative majority signaled that they would side with a Trump ally challenging the use of mail-in ballots in his state. A case that could pave the way for other Republicans to bring similar challenges against mail-in voting. And the Trump administration may be looking to rig our elections in more overtly controlling ways as well. We're seeing it play out on our streets. Trump is deploying troops to several major American cities in what he says is an effort to crack down on crime, despite the fact that they are not trained to fight crime in cities. They are trained to fight in war zones. And some elected officials in those cities have been warning that those occupations are about much more than crime.
He wants to militarize major cities across the United States, especially blue cities in blue states, because he wants us to get used to the idea of military on the streets, military troops, because of their 2026 elections. I believe that he's going to post people outside of ballot boxes and polling places, and if he needs to, in order to control those elections, he'll assume control of the ballot boxes and count the votes himself. He promised to do that. He threatened to do that back in 2020. Didn't get the chance to do it. I believe he would do it in 2026.
Look, I'd love to sit here and tell you I don't believe it will come to that. The truth is that Trump and his party are already showing us they're willing to go to new lengths to deny voters their democratic representation so that they can hold on to power. That's what this is all about.